Justin Bieber and eggs. Eggs. I doubt they're farm fresh. Let's get this started. Hello you guys, sorry about last week not having a video posted up. I was dying. The Chick McGee podcast that was on beginning of January was a freaking blast. Had so much fun. Got to hang out with Jess Hooker, producer Jason, and Chick McGee on his podcast, Off the Air podcast. In the first video I mentioned I was a little nervous about it. I didn't know what to expect, but it was a lot of fun. And I think that was really cool is that, I mean, in all honesty, like, the demographic for Chick McGee isn't the normal demographic that I'm used to. And same thing, like the Chick McGee demographic, they're used to funny comedian people. None of that at all describes myself. So it was a lot of fun to hang out with these people. And the Chick McGee podcast listeners, hella cool. So yeah, Off the Air, fun. If you haven't checked it out yet, go check out the podcast. You can go to your podcast app on your smartphone, or you can go to, I think it's chickmcgee.com, and they have the podcast on there. It's podcast number 82. Look for name Jeremiah Williams. And it's a whole hour and like 15 minutes of us talking about fashion and just stuff that's happening here in India a little bit. And hopefully I'll be back on again. I would love to. Because it's just fun. I mean, I don't know what I'll talk about again. Probably like random stuff that I find on the internet. Something that's entertaining. But check it out. You will not be disappointed. chickmcgee.com, Off the Air podcast. Oh, I mentioned on the podcast, let me go get him real quick, hold on. I mentioned a local company called Hazen Taylor. You can find them at hazentaylor.com. They do vintage sports graphic tees, which are some really cool stuff. We brought up this question, me and Jess and Chick McGee talked about it on the podcast, about when guys should and when guys should not wear their sports gear, jerseys specifically. Going to like a house party for sports, right now like football playoffs. If you're going to a playoff game at a house, or you're going to the game, totally feel free to wear the jersey. If you're going to a bar, a sports bar, wear the jersey. But you don't have to wear the jersey all the time. It's great to show your team support and all that stuff. But you can do it in other really cool ways, like wearing the team colors, doing really cool graphic t-shirts like Hazen Taylor have, where they don't necessarily say IU on it, but they have really cool references that are iconic to those specific teams. So I talked about them on the podcast, and so I wanted to share it with you guys in case you haven't checked it out. Some of their t-shirts that are pretty rad, so check that out. If you want, Twitter's where the magic happens. So recently I got a tweet from a guy wanting to know about bow ties. He wants to wear bow ties, but his girlfriend, I think it's girlfriend, maybe wife, anyway, the woman who's a significant other, thought they looked very juvenile, dorky, just really weren't a stylish thing. And so, like always, I get connected and settle these arguments. Oh! I should have like, okay, I'm pondering this before I say it. I've learned to think before I speak, which is a huge milestone. What if, in a future video, do like fashion court judge thing, where people come, present their fashion argument, I rule, all is settled. Genius idea. Anyway, this guy sent me a tweet wanting to know my thoughts on bow ties, if they were a stylish thing to do or not to do, kind of just in general, if I had any advice on this. Bow ties can actually be a really solid accessory piece. And it's pretty trendy, so guys who are actually thinking about making the leap into like a big fashion plunge, do a bow tie every once in a while, and rock it out. But grown men are also wearing bow ties in some really cool ways. It brings back kind of like this vintagey, cool style that not everyone can pull off. Not everyone can just wear a bow tie and be done with it. It's definitely not a universal accessory that I'd recommend to just anyone, but it's definitely worth trying. And so I'm totally for rocking a bow tie, and I encourage you guys to do the same. But like always, I want to hear what you guys are doing. Are you guys wearing a bow tie? Do you like the bow ties? Do you think the bow tie trend is just over with? Follow me on Twitter. Or you can hashtag it, just socialclub19, socialclub19. And I'll be watching, see what people are saying, seeing if people are over it. And yes, learn how to tie a bow tie. But even I have bow ties that are just snapped together. Because sometimes that's all you really effort you want to put in. So go for a bow tie. All about it. And send me your fashion questions as well. I'm always looking for stuff now to talk about. If it doesn't go on the website at socialclub19.com, you never know, it might pop up on here, or I might tweet about it, or Instagram a picture. You never know. Two things. Right now, fashion weeks are starting, so I'm checking out some men's fashion stuff on there. I don't tend to do a lot of fashion show coverage because there's some great websites out there who already do it. But I tend to find some things that are really like catches my eye from some of these shows, and I talk about it. One of them that I will have for fall 14, because that's when these shows are coming out, is a Prince's crown. And for you fashion advanced, if you check out the Dolce & Gabbana fall 14 fashion show, you'll completely understand. But there's this whole like trend, I don't want to get too much into it because I'm going to be writing about it for the website, but it's this whole really cool trend of like this medieval stuff. And there's a crown. Go check it out. Because I want it. And so I will have one. Just as an accessory. Just because why not? So check out the website. I'll see you guys around. Thanks. Peace. I don't know how to end this. Oh well. Well, my rant will continue after this. From what I've gathered, I'm not E-News television, but apparently his neighbor had damage from eggs. There's around like $20,000, $25,000 worth of damage. Cops were called Justin Bieber's house. They raided it to search for eggs. Now, I'm not one, I don't think have I ever egged a house? I don't think I have. Anyway, I feel that you'd use all the eggs. Like if you're gonna egg at a house, you just use the eggs. And how can you, can you really tell the difference between store-bought eggs? They kind of all look the same, unless they have like a little stamp on the top. But yeah, so they raided the house looking for eggs, found some drugs, a drug of the powdery substance type, but it wasn't Justin Bieber's. But it's been like a weird story, just following it. It's been weird, purely because everyone's talking about how they're searching for eggs, which then made me want an omelet. Sounds kind of good. So my secret for making eggs, in case any of you care, is, first of all, get your eggs at room temperature. Now some people say only use like farm-raised eggs or whatever. I just go to this grocery store and buy them. Set your eggs out, break them, scramble them up really good with a whisk. A fork doesn't do as well, and for the love, don't even think about using a spoon, but use a whisk. Get it nice and airy. And then, like I said, you want it to be like a little bit room temperature. Turn your pan on so it gets kind of warm. In your pan, drop in some like extra virgin olive oil, just like a spoonful. I just drop it in. And then put a little bit of milk in your eggs, a little bit of whole milk, or you can use like cream, I guess, but a little bit of whole milk in your eggs. Whisk it a couple more times. Pour it in. Now you don't want the pan super hot. You want it like at a nice medium. It's better to take longer to cook your eggs than cook your eggs too fast and they become dry and gross. And just leave them alone. And as you start seeing it kind of like get harder at the bottom pan, just gently scoop from the edges into the inside. Because you like fluffy eggs. And then at the end, add your salt, pepper, and your cheese. So thank Justin Bieber for that cooking tip. People aren't very picky about their eggs, I've noticed. But anyway, thanks for checking it out, you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye. Bye. Should I wave like this? Wave like this? How do people wave? I don't know. Bye.